In Harvester 1.4, we added the ability to enable the Longhorn V2 Data Engine, which provides significant performance improvements over the V1 Data Engine. That was then and is still now in Harvester 1.5 an experimental feature, but in 1.4 there were a couple of significant limitations. We couldn't do live migration of VMs, and we also couldn't use the V2 Data Engine for the boot volumes of virtual machines. They still had to be the V1 Data Engine. And both of those limitations have been removed in Harvester 1.5, which uses Longhorn 1.8. So I'm going to do a quick walkthrough now of how to take advantage of that. Do check the previous showcase video where I walk through like actually enabling the V2 Data Engine and adding disks to each of your nodes. I'm not going to do that again here. I'm just going to go and show you my running test system where I've already set it all up. So the V2 Data Engine is enabled. And if we go and look at the hosts, each one of these I've gone and added an extra NVMe disk to. Dev NVMe, you really want to be using these paths. You don't want to be using NVMe devices that are behind that appear as dev SD whatever, because it uses a different driver and it's slower and it doesn't work as well basically. So really do try to do this. And of course the other thing I've done is I've created a Longhorn V2 storage class. And the important thing here, when you create a Longhorn V2 storage class with Harvester 1.5, it will set the migratable property to yes or true. So any images or volumes you create using this storage class will actually be migratable. I have already gone ahead and created an image just to save a bit of time, but if you were doing this from scratch, you go create, you choose a URL or a file. The key thing here is when you're creating the image, you've got to make sure you select that Longhorn V2 storage class when you're creating it. So if we go back to the image that I've already got here, and let's create a virtual machine from that. I'm going to call it test, give it a little bit of memory and a CPU. My SSH key, I'll stick it on a network that I can access. And we're using our image here. We can see the storage class and the virtual size there at the end. And I'm going to add an extra volume because I can, just to give it a bit more work to do. And again, making sure that we're using the Longhorn V2 storage class. And now we're off and creating the virtual machine. When this is done initially, it's a little bit slow the first time because it actually has to copy all of the data from that image into the root volume, because that's one thing that we don't have yet in Longhorn 1.8 is the ability to do fast cloning of images. So the first time you do this, it's going to take a little while it copies that data over to the disk. Let's have a quick look at the Longhorn UI and see if we can see that in action. So here we go. Yeah, see this one here. It's copying that 783 meg of the image into the root volume of the disk. This is actually also, in this case, I'm using my my laptop as a test environment. So honestly, like in the real world, this is quite a bit faster than this. Anyway, so I'll go back here to virtual machines. It's starting now. Okay, it's actually running on node 2. Now, shortly, that should come up with an IP address, and I'll be able to SSH, once I find out what the IP address is. It's going to be 102.0 dot something. There we go, 55. And I can see my disks. Let's give it something to do. Make fs dev vdb. So that's off and doing something. And while it's doing that, I'm going to go and migrate that to node 0. Okay, so that's migrating. I've just made a file system on it. Let's make the data mount dev vdb data, and file there, and so I've just been using this live and doing stuff to it, and the VM has happily gone and migrated over to Node 0. So there you go. Root volume, V2 Data Engine, live migration, beautiful. The other thing that I need to point out though is this is all great if you're starting with Harvester 1.5 and Longhorn 1.8. If you are upgrading from Harvester 1.4, any existing volumes that you've got were created using the old non-migratable storage class. So they don't suddenly automatically become migratable, right? You have to transition over to new volumes, and which is a little bit cumbersome, honestly. But if you are using the NVMe BDEV driver, so if your disks were added using the dev NVMe device paths, what we can do, we'll have this procedure in the documentation, but basically what it means is if you've got, let's pretend that this virtual machine is one that has non-migratable volume on it. What you would need to do is stop the virtual machine and then go and find its volume that you wish to make migratable. You go and export that volume to an image using your migratable Longhorn V2 storage class, not using the old one from version 1.4. Once you've exported that to a new image, you can go back and edit your virtual machine. Where are I? Edit config, volumes, and then you would delete the non-migratable volume from the virtual machine, and then you would go and use add virtual machine image to go and add the image that you'd exported previously using the new migratable storage class. So yeah, I really wish we could do seamless upgrades with experimental features like this, but sometimes it's just not possible, and this is one of those times. So what I am really looking forward to is for that is actually the next big release of Harvester and Longhorn, which is coming up in sometime later this year, which will support fast volume cloning. So some of those annoyances will go away then. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy experimenting with the Longhorn V2 Data Engine in Harvester 1.5. We'd love to hear how it's working for you, so please give us feedback via GitHub issues or ping us on Slack. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.